As he scrolled through his emails, Mr. Ross sat at his imposing mahogany desk, the screen's glow illuminating his stern features. The years had carved a path of success for him at the company, but along that path, he had become a man defined by his work, a leader known more for his cold efficiency than for any warmth or empathy. His employees were just cogs in the machine, tools to achieve the company's goals, and he treated them as such, expendable and replaceable. Mr. Ross wasn't inherently mean. He simply believed that the job came first, sacrifices were necessary, and if he could make them, so could everyone else. This mindset earned him respect, mingled with resentment. He walked the halls with an air of arrogance, his sharp gaze intimidating those who dared to meet it. In the corporate world, Mr. Ross had climbed the ladder with unrelenting focus, leaving little room for personal connections or empathy. The atmosphere in the office was tense. Employees tiptoed around him. Conversations hushed as he passed by, yet his methods had undeniably brought the company success, and that was what mattered to him. One Friday afternoon, as Mr. Ross was preparing for a crucial board meeting, his assistant, Jane, knocked timidly on his door. "Mr. Ross, may I have a word?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Without looking up, he nodded. "Make it quick, Jane. I have a meeting in 10. Jane hesitated before speaking. "It's about Mark from the IT department. He's been absent for a week, and I've just learned that his daughter is very ill. He's been by her side in the hospital." Mr. Ross's brow furrowed. "And we all have responsibilities. Tell him he is also responsible for his work." Jane's eyes widened in shock, but she bit her tongue and nodded, retreating from the office. The incident barely registered with Mr. Ross as he immersed himself in the board meeting, where he delivered a stellar presentation, earning praise from the executives. The following week, the company received tragic news. Mark's daughter had passed away. A memo circulated the office, and a somber mood settled over the employees. Mr. Ross, however, viewed it as an unfortunate personal matter that should not interfere with staff duties. Later that day, Mr. Ross was in his office when a call came through from his wife. He answered brusquely, "I'm busy. Can this wait?" His wife's voice trembled. "It's about our son, David. He's been in an accident and is in the hospital. They don't know if he'll make it." For the first time, Mr. Ross felt the cold grip of fear. His son was his pride and joy, the one personal connection he had maintained through his years of corporate ambition. He left the office in a hurry, driving to the hospital with a pounding heart. As he rushed into the hospital to see his son, he saw Mark and his wife just leaving the hospital, looking utterly broken and distraught. The sight struck him deeply. At the hospital, he found his wife in tears, doctors and nurses bustling around. David's condition was critical, and the next few hours were a blur of anxious waiting. As Mr. Ross sat by his son's bedside, the reality of his situation began to sink in. He had been so consumed with his work that he had neglected the most important people. In the quiet of the hospital room, Mr. Ross watched his son fight for his life. He saw the worried faces of other parents, and he thought of Mark. He thought of the callousness with which he had dismissed Mark's plight, not recognizing the shared personal struggles of his employees. David's condition gradually stabilized, And Mr. Ross was filled with a profound sense of relief and gratitude, but he also felt a deep shame for his previous indifference. He returned to the office with a newfound perspective. He called a meeting with his team, the first of its kind. As they gathered, he stood before them. His usual stern demeanor softened. "I owe you all an apology," he began. "I've been so focused on our success that I forgot about the people who make it possible. You all have families, lives, and challenges that deserve respect and empathy. I've learned that life is unpredictable, and we must cherish those around us." His words hung in the air, and the employees exchanged glances of shock, surprise, and relief. The atmosphere in the office began to shift from that day slowly. Mr. Ross started to take a genuine interest in his employees' well-being, creating a culture of support and understanding. Mr. Ross's journey was a humbling one, and it taught him the value of compassion and the importance of balancing professional ambition with personal connections. The once cold and distant leader became a figure of respect and admiration for his business acumen and his compassion. Life is unpredictable and fleeting. In the pursuit of success, do not forget that empathy and understanding can transform not only workplaces, but also lives. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Romans 12, verse 15.